What's up guys, this week I finally got to use the new Nerf Pro Gelfire Mythic after a bit of a wait. If you haven't seen my YouTube short about it, despite its toy-like appearance, all gel blasters are considered illegal firearms in the majority of Australia. And it's taken me a while to get this one registered and serialised and recorded in a government database somewhere. So you could say, at least in the minds of Australian politicians, Nerf are now an arms manufacturer.
Yep.
That aside, I realize the official Nerf branded gel blaster is intended for the USA market, and I'm probably the only person in Australia with one of these. Our blasters here in Australia tend to start at a minimum velocity of 300 feet per second. That's more than double the performance of the Nerf Pro Gelfire, so no one would even bother wanting one of these if it was sold here. But since Australia is years ahead of the USA in terms of gel blasters, I thought it would be worth getting one of these to test from my frame of reference. Even before it arrived, I had my own expectations of what it was going to be. We've had a gel blaster here for a while now called the Gelstorm, which is a hopper-fed pistol just like the Nerf Pro here. And the Gelstorm is basically a reskin of a now 4-year-old gel blaster called the SKD M1911. When that blaster first came out, it was pretty cool for the time, shooting 11 rounds per second with a velocity range between 140 and 160 feet per second. This Nerf gel blaster is pretty much the exact same thing as the Gelstorm, although it doesn't keep up with the Gelstorm performance-wise. At least, not with the included Nerf branded gel balls. More on that in a bit. When you first take it out of the box, the Nerf Pro Gelfire is fully collapsed. You can very easily adjust the stock by pressing the two buttons at the rear and pulling it out. This definitely has more of an SMG feel to it compared to the other hopper-fed pistols I mentioned earlier. Plus, the stock is very sturdy and it won't collapse if you push hard on it. The entire externals of this blaster are a nice thick plastic quality you'd expect from Nerf. Up top, you have the connection point for the hopper, which simply quarter turns on, similar to an end strike attachment point. That makes it different from the Gelstorm and all the other hopper-fed blasters which actually thread on properly. Unsurprisingly, in true Nerf fashion, it shares no compatibility whatsoever with the hoppers used on other blasters. And notably, side by side, the Nerf hopper has a much smaller opening, which does affect feeding in comparison. The included Nerf brand hopper holds 800 gel balls, which is the same amount as the other gel ball hoppers hold, and I always found that to be plenty enough for a 15-minute game. Wait, I should probably explain how gel balls work in case some of the viewers have never used them before. So in the box, it comes with 2 packs of 5,000 dehydrated gel balls. All you need to do is put them in water for 4 hours and they'll grow to 7.3 millimeters in diameter and be ready to use. You always want to make sure there's more water available than what the gels need to grow, otherwise you'll be restricting the size they grow to. And another important note is make sure you drain any excess water out before loading the hopper, or you can damage the internals of your blaster from exposing them to all that water. Now, the gel balls provided with the Nerf Pro Gelfire are pretty soft, can very easily crush them between your fingers. Here in Australia, we tend to use much harder gel balls like these ones I have here, which are called Ronin gels. Harder gels tend to be more accurate and travel further than softer gels do. The harder gels I'm using here will actually be available in the USA soon, so check the links out down below if you want to get your hands on some harder, better gels after seeing me compare the two later on in the video. In the box, you get a removable battery that inserts into the grip. To remove it again, it uses pinch tabs. Just push in on either side. It does add a little girth to the grip of the blaster having the battery stored there, but compared to other Nerf brand blasters, it's pretty much the same grip size. I do wonder though how much dead space there is inside the blaster shell that could have been used to store a regular LiPo like the Gelstorm uses. Although I guess they probably didn't want kids messing around with exposed LiPos. The battery itself though is a 7.4 volt LiPo, but it uses an included USB-C charger to top it up. This would easily allow you to recharge at the field off of a portable battery pack, but you probably will never need to because blasters this low in rate of fire and velocity use next to no power. Plus, with the way the battery clips in and out, I'm sure it's intended that you get a couple of these batteries and you won't have to recharge them while you're in the field at all. At the front of the blaster, you can twist on the included mock suppressor. It doesn't actually do anything, but it does add to the looks. It's just a hollow tube after all. I'd personally leave it on because it doesn't hinder anything. The Nerf Pro Gelfire has 2 tactical rails, and both make my brain hurt thinking about the design choices. No, it's not the fact the top rail is sandwiched between the front sight post and the hopper, making it nearly unusable, nor is it that the bottom rail angles backwards towards the user that confuses me. No, it's the choice to make both of these fake Picatinny rails. I'm guessing these are the same spec as Nerf rival tack rails, but they're far too narrow to hold any actual Picatinny attachments. No one would ever want to attach a flashlight or a camera to a Nerf blaster. No, of course not. I guess Hasbro just lacks the balls to use real Picatinny rails like every other company does. To use the blaster, once you have it loaded with gel balls in the hopper and the battery inserted, turn the dial at the back clockwise from off to semi-auto. A small green light will come on, you might be able to see it if the sun's not too bright, and in semi it'll fire one shot per trigger pull. That's actually a feature the other hopper-fed blasters don't usually have. Those blasters are usually full auto only. But once you actually use this thing for a bit, you'll soon learn to turn the dial into full auto because gel blasters just aren't accurate enough to really use in semi-auto modes. Which is probably why those blasters didn't bother with semi. Below the trigger guard you have a manual safety. This just locks the trigger mechanically, making it unable to fire accidentally. And that pretty much covers what's included and the functionality, aside from a cheap pair of eye pro which you'll definitely want to be wearing when you play gel ball because eye injuries are no joke. So now I'm going to shoot some of the Nerf brand gel balls over a chronograph and then compare them to the much harder Ronin gel balls that I normally use.
106, 118, 125, 112, 110, 120, 121.
So Nerf gel balls shot between 106 and 125 feet per second. Now here's the Ronin gel balls.
150, 151. 140, 141, 148, 143, 143.
Velocity-wise, Nerf's gel balls are quite a bit slower than harder gels like Ronin, which actually surprised me. But then again, being in Australia, I've never actually used gels as soft as the included Nerf ones. I was able to further confirm it by firing the Nerf gels out of my Gelstorm blaster, and with Nerf gels it was shooting 140 to 159 feet per second compared to its usual 146 to 168 with Ronin. So that shows me that the Gelstorm also has a slight performance edge over the Nerf Pro Gelfire, but more importantly it shows that Nerf gels seem to shoot slower than harder gels do. Next, for an accuracy comparison, given the low velocity of the blaster, I'm going to test from a distance of 20 meters away from the target, which I'd say is probably around the maximum effective range.
You do occasionally need to shake it, even with the regular Nerf balls as well. I'd say the reason you have to shake it is because of how narrow the opening is on the hopper compared to the Gelstorm. The gels just get stuck and you have to shake it to agitate them. See, give it a bit of a shake. Dropping short. I reckon the spread's a little bit wider on the orange, but honestly at this velocity there's not a whole lot of difference.
So that was the performance of the Nerf Pro Gelfire. Basically a slightly worse performing version of a now 4-year-old pistol gel blaster. But it is in an updated, pretty cool looking SMG package. Compared to the Gelstorm, I think as a toy this looks a lot better, and the removable USB-C recharging battery is pretty cool. The Nerf Gel Blaster does have some very dumb design choices though, like fake Picatinny rails, as well as a narrower hopper opening that does seem to impact feeding compared to the wider opening on other blasters. Every so often you will need to give the Nerf Pro Gelfire a shake to agitate the hopper, while with the Gelstorm and other hopper-fed blasters for example, I've never needed to. If you live in the USA and want a gel blaster that shoots this low in velocity, maybe for backyard gelball wars or something like that, being able to pick this up from your local Target is pretty handy. But now that Australian retailers are starting to expand to the USA, I would just get an SKD M1911 instead, or a Gelstorm or any of those other hopper-fed blasters. And if you check the links down below, you can get any of these blasters I've mentioned in the video from a USA-based seller. You'll even find harder gels there too. Plus, I even have a discount code you can use which helps support my channel and you save some money. Or alternatively, you could just buy something that shoots twice as hard as this. That's also an option now in the US. But that's all I have for you today. If you've enjoyed my perspective on the Nerf Pro Gelfire, consider subscribing and leaving a comment. And here's 2 other videos you might enjoy. Till next time.